Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt Marrero along with your other host.
A guy who apparently listens to Nickelback. No, I don't. Hi, it's Atish Ram. But I do want to make note of the fact that we just opened up with Nickelback.
Yes, that was the actual opening for the Survivor Series pay-per-view that I'm still watching. And for any of you thinking, Matt, why are you still watching that? You clearly did not plan your night correctly. Actually, the WWE Network did not plan my night correctly. I was unable to get into the pre-show, and I was unable to watch most of the show until right now. We're currently on the main event, the Survivor Series match. And, oh, hey, look, Rowan just got eliminated. All right, cool. I will be calling it live on the air for humor and also just to show you that maybe we're good at the number of subscribers we're at right now, because this was the only night in a very long time. In fact, I think up to like WrestleMania and around that area was when it was this bad. It has not been this bad in a very long time for me.
Yeah, and for two reasons, both you and I mentioned, that we were kind of upset about the streams being that way. Where one, the first thing I mentioned was that, hey, tonight was the night where how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people got to see Survivor Series for free. And a lot of people probably experienced the network trouble that you did, considering you have a relatively strong internet. And
no.
They're going to be sitting
I'm sorry.
there.
Big Show just punched out John Cena.
That didn't actually happen, Matt. Don't lie to them. Come on.
Wait, what?
That was like what, Photoshopped or something, right? Come on, don't do this.
This is a live Photoshop right now.
No,
I'm confused. Is Big Show Sting?
Look, I know you want to be funny here, but
no,
that would never
which
happen.
One? No,
Big
but which one is
Sting?
Sting?
Sting's the guy
confused.
in a Sting mask.
Okay, so was that the guy in the Fez that was kind of cheering? That's all
yes.
you always see at the
yes,
WWE
events?
Yes. Okay, that was Sting. All right, cool.
Right.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm a little confused. So wait, is it over? Because it's on mute for me right now. Is it over?
No, Dolph Ziggler hasn't been eliminated.
Okay. That's why for a second there I'm just a little confused here. I'm just like, and Big Show is kind of just like, taking off his suspenders for a second there. I'm a little confused. We'll talk about this more later. Anyway,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Sorry, it's live for me, so it's real to me right now. So excuse me, everyone. But you were saying, right, the idea that this is the night that we're supposed to kind of showcase how good your network is.
Yeah,
and it lags
people
to all
will
hell.
Sit there and think, hey, why should I pay for this? And I'm sure a lot of people were impressed, but also part of the reason I subscribe to the network rather is the Netflix type service. And
right.
I don't know, I hope they got to showcase this throughout the month, but you've got the Netflix service, you've got the live stuff. So the Netflix stuff is cool, of course, but when your live pay-per-view that people pay for doesn't go off with anything clean, where we've got interruptions for you, I mean, it's now 11:34, and you watching the pay-per-view from the beginning have not finished. In fact,
right.
Based on where you are, there's still about 20 or so minutes left.
So you're telling me that Dolph Ziggler could win this?
No.
Okay. Anywho, so, yeah, wow. Anyway, but, so not just that, right? You mentioned which also is a very good point, which is this is the night to showcase your network. And we'll get into the pay-per-view itself just in a moment, but this background really does, I think, highlight this night, I think, for many of us, because not only that, but the idea that, people were able to get this for free, which is a great thing to showcase your network. However, clearly it can't handle it, because now people that paid, like you and I, are sitting here with a laggy stream that is affecting our work. But even if it wasn't affecting our work, still, the sheer, not even entertainment, just we've paid. Where now the people who didn't pay either may or may not have had a crappy time, because some people just may not have. And, coupled with the fact that, now people for free, still, either way, either got screwed or they got it a perfect stream or an okay stream, while the people that paid, like us, are in a way getting screwed over. Where I would rather them, I know it sounds crazy, increase the money put into the network that we have to pay for it, and then the people just don't subscribe. So let's say we still keep the same amount of subscribers, but we have a little bit more, money towards it. Maybe they give us a lot more, in terms of product or in terms of, backlog. right? Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I want this network to survive, but if this is going to be the case, I don't want that many people in on it. Not to make it sound elitist or sound like I want to be part of some underground club, but damn it, if this is how many people it needs for the network to subscribe, people, to work, people are going to unsubscribe because of the lagginess of it all.
Yeah, and, to be fair, I had a generally okay experience tonight, where for the most part I had some lag, I had some skips, I had some weird stuff going on, but from pre-show to the end of the show, I was pretty much okay. Now I was behind a few people who I was simultaneously watching the pay-per-view with, but obviously nowhere near as bad as what you were dealing with. So,
right.
I mean, it wasn't that bad for me. It was not that bad for our fact-checker, Maddie, and a friend of ours, Blaine, who was watching. They were doing okay.
Right.
So I know that they have the similar issues with me, where they had to refresh every now and then. And
Kane was just eliminated by Ziggler.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, moving. Yeah. So for me, it was just, as I mentioned earlier, no kickoff at all. Just everyone was trying to get in. Then I think a lot of people gave up because I was finally able to get in with part of McMahon's speech. And then for the most part, up until little hiccups here and there right at when Bray was making his emotional speech, the network just many people may have jumped in and the network said no thank you. And I had to wait there for a very long time. Finally things, the ball kept on rolling until I'm going to say literally this match. So I think a lot of people wanted to tune into this match maybe because you have that option of just kind of leaving and coming back if you wish. If you have the network either for free or you've bought it. And I think a lot of people maybe tried to come back in for the main event and were disappointed to find laggy streams. And clearly a lot of people were in it because right now, as we're talking, the stream is perfect because clearly a lot of people decided, well, it's Sunday. After pay-per-view, kind of late night, I'm just going to go to bed or something. Maybe they've even gone to the Netflix-type service of it, so they're not watching the live stream. Because arguably the live stream probably would not be affected, by the backlog, assuming.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing the live stream right now, if anything, is a replay, so I don't know what's going on with the network servers, to be honest with you. But
right.
In terms of the night, so you didn't see the pre-show at all?
Not at all. I just saw a brief clip of the new Fandango, which is the same Fandango except, later on in time, and winning against Justin Gabriel.
Yeah.
And then apparently AJ we had AJ and Bad News Barrett say something.
Bad News Barrett made his first appearance in a long time after injury, and essentially just cut a Bad News Barrett promo. He was a bit more direct than he normally is, because essentially what he said was that he put bad news out there for John Cena and the Authority. And for me, it was fun just to see him again. I like him. Of course, I just want to hope he's doing I just would like to believe that he's doing well. So, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm very, very much in pain right now. So, you're going to hear me slip often throughout this night. But, yeah, so Bad News Barrett came out, did his thing. And also, we had a second match on the pre-show, which I assume that you didn't get to see. And I'm not messing with you. I'm being...
okay.
So,
was
Cesaro...
Sting in it?
No, Sting was not in it. Cesaro came out to declare his allegiance to the Authority. And basically talking about how, he had... he was a Swiss neutral party, and he wanted to declare his allegiance to the Authority.
Harper just got eliminated.
Yeah. And he started talking about how he was going to, declare allegiance and greatness of the Authority in 5 different languages.
That's great.
He was interrupted by Jack Swagger, who, of course, had pledged his allegiance to Team Cena beforehand. But this didn't matter, because literally only because of the fact that Cesaro had chosen Team Authority, according to Zeb, Swagger was choosing Team Cena. And
that makes sense.
This match went on, and of course Cesaro, being the jobber that he is, lost, tapped out to Swagger's ankle lock.
No, oh my God, come on.
And on top of that, I think just the overall idea of Jack was removed from Team Cena storyline-wise because of injury. But if I remember correctly, he was on the main event of main event last week.
Yes, against Bray Wyatt. Yeah,
I
think
he was
they made a
obviously
story.
fine tonight.
Yeah, I think they made a story, and then they forgot what a story was, and here's where we are.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was like follow through or something like that, but it was just a matter of like, okay, Jack was supposed to be on Team Cena. You decided he wasn't going to be on there because of injury, and then he's fine to wrestle a full-length match at the pre-show of the event and get someone to tap out. And then on top of that, the obvious idea that Cesaro not only lost, but lost again by tap out to Jack Swagger. So,
well, not even just that, by the way. The fact that he was fed to Ryback, and I mean literally fed on SmackDown in basically a squash match, it's very upsetting because I'm okay with Cesaro constantly losing when you're showing his strength and his promise. However, in a squash match by Ryback and then being put into this versus Swagger, that really did not need to happen. Hell, this could have been on the main card and, could have given people some more time or given a match more time. It's very upsetting to hear that he just loses again. Also via tap out, no mention to his leg whatsoever. Like, then again, I didn't see the match, but usually Swagger never works on the leg. It's just they are in the submission and then, bam, it happened. So it's very upsetting to just have a strong guy like Cesaro being put away like this. Oh, God, I'm sorry. I thought Ziggler was going to win. Sorry. Anyway, so it's Ziggler versus Rollins now. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a little upset at that because you have someone like Cesaro, and there's just certain, I don't know, it's just he needs something. Like, I'm really nervous about what he may have said or done backstage, where it has to be. There is no way you can look at Cesaro and look at everything he could bring to the table. I mean, he's literally everything that Vince would like in a human being in terms of, on the mat. So I'm really confused as to what happened backstage, maybe, that could have caused someone to think, nope, not only is this not our guy, we're going to ruin him. We are going to ruin him.
It's really painful to me, before we even jump into the actual show, to see Cesaro treated this way, because if you buy any Ring of Honor DVD for like $5, and I'm honest, because if you go to like one of these events where...
Yes, we have, yes. They've been...
Yeah, of course you and I have. But if you go to any of these Ring of Honor events, or you go to even just independent events, you'll find Ring of Honor DVDs for like $5. And
yeah, I mean, they have their expensive ones, but we were in the $5 bin, and we got some good stuff.
Yeah, no, you can literally buy any of those and, find Claudio Castagnoli on a lot of those. And you can see his just moveset and what he does in Ring of Honor in any of these matches. And it's just a frustration for me as someone who was in love with him as an indie wrestler to watch him reduced to nothing when they had given him some stuff to do in WWE where I was pleased. And he's obviously pound for pound the strongest guy on the roster, and he's got charisma, and he's not black. So what is WWE's issue with him? I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you.
I feel like it's I'm not saying it's on his end, but there has to be some kind of maybe slight arrogance. Someone took it as arrogance. It has to be something that hurt their pride if it's really like what we think it is. Because usually this kind of thing doesn't happen, because even in the last, let's say, month or two, where Cesaro keeps on losing, I've been telling you, and you can hear me saying it on the air, that no, Cesaro was able to do this, and he was good at doing this. So, I mean, yeah, it was a loss, but I mean, look how he lost. In these last two matches, from the way you're talking about this pre-show match and from what I saw on SmackDown, there is no, but he lost in such a great way. No, it's just for some reason, only a certain amount of people can be cool. Only a certain amount of people can get stories. But if you're not those certain amount of people, you're screwed no matter how good you actually are. And, oh, God, the referee just got pulled out of the ring. Triple H is now currently assaulting a referee. I think what's scary is the referee can't do anything to call for the bell, so clearly this match is going on until he gets up and then realizes that he's calling a match. If the video games taught me anything.
Pretty much.
Yes. But anywho, while that's going on in the background, yeah, it's really upsetting because I'm not saying that, we should be having champions who can sit there and on camera say, I hate this business, right? Because of course you want to have people who are very, cordial and whatever and, and can talk to the fans and et cetera, because you're dealing with something that in no way, Stephanie just knocked down Triple H, okay. They're in no way, do you want someone at the top? Like, we love CM Punk, but and also he's great with the fans too, by the way. But imagine if CM Punk was actually his character in real life. And I mean that to all of the fans, where you can say what you want to about him, but we've heard that as a, as a person, he is not, like his character when a fan approaches him like a kid or something like that, right? So I bring this up in the sense that if he was actually like that, then you wouldn't want to put a title on that guy. Triple H is now going to screw the Cerebral Assassin and King of Kings. He's now the referee assaulter. Every referee should be extremely worried with Triple H in that ring. I hope there's more referees that come in that Triple H can murder. Anyway, so as we were saying, yeah, it really upsets me, that I get it. You don't want to put a championship on that guy, but give him a story or something. And we don't even know this about Cesaro. This is us just spitballing here, because for what reason could you be putting a man through something like this and, and then what? He's going to be built up one day? I mean, your roster is so depleted with all of these injuries right now. Why in any way, is this good? Is this best for business? Let's say good for business. No, best for business. There's no reason for this.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about Cesaro a lot recently because of the fact that, well, quite frankly, he's just struggled in terms of storyline. But to us, we sit here and we know that, my God, what kind of booking is this guy getting? But, before we sit here and we just rant on all that, we might as well talk about what went on in the actual pay-per-view.
Right, the show itself.
Unfortunately,
also,
is still going on.
It's still happening. Yes, Triple H is you during a match, just beating up referees. We've played before, everybody. He beats up referees, and then he just drags people onto other people. And then sometimes he'll even change his indicator to me and just start hitting me because it's really funny. I hate you, Skip Graham. But anyway, holy crap, it's actually happening. I was making shitty jokes the entire time. Why is he actually here? Holy crap. For what reason is this relevant? Okay. He's here. We'll get back to that in a second. Hello, good sir. We'll get back to that in a second, a little bit later. Holy crap, though, he's here. Holy crap. I'm sorry, everyone, this is live for me. But anyway, let's jump back to the beginning, shall we? Oh, boy, he's here. Jumping to the beginning of the night, that happened a while ago for me. So my network opened. My stream finally worked. As I mentioned earlier, it took a while to work. It finally opened when McMahon said the word remember, and then the stream paused for 5 seconds before it. And I was worried because I thought it was just some kind of cryptic message. Like, it looks me dead in the eye, just remember. And again, I don't know if it's just some kind of, okay, Sting is also on Triple H's side. He enjoys punching referees, apparently. They have a kinship. They have a common bond, from the looks of it. But anyway, so I don't know if there was a cryptic message at all, but I would love to say that I am hailing our McMahon overlords, and I respect them kindly. But what happened before that? What happened right before McMahon said, remember? I assume a night you would remember, but what did McMahon just come out and say, this is a night that you will remember, and then I just came in?
Essentially, he guaranteed in his promo that this would be a Survivor Series that everyone would remember.
Right. And then that is when
that led into the whole, Triple H and Stephanie and then eventual John Cena thing. I mean, eventually we got all of them out there, and we ended up leading off Survivor Series with a 18 or so minute promo.
Right, we did. Which isn't the worst thing.
Combined promo / segment.
Right. Which isn't the worst thing in the world. It's just, it's just weird. Because, I mean, I will admit, I like that they understood that people know that they aren't going to lose their jobs for real. right? And that they will not be working on WWE TV, which, I mean, to us, essentially is them losing their jobs. So I'm okay with that. However, I was hoping that the Authority would lose because the idea that Cena is the one that can bring them into power is an amazing thing to me. Because the idea that John Cena can sit there and go, "We don't need you, we're not gonna take it. I can't sing more of the song because of copyrights," right? So having that, it would be really, really fun. Oh God, Sting is a bald spot. It would be really fun if, after about 3 months, John Cena goes, calls them, "Hey, how's it going, guys? So, there's total anarchy. So could you just, that would be nice. Thanks." They just come back to Bray Wyatt sitting on a freaking throne made of skulls. They just look at John. Things have gotten pretty bad. Dean Ambrose is in a flaming cage. Who put him in there? Dean Ambrose did. Listen, guys, it's gotten really bad.
No, but so this promo in the beginning, I think I was only pissed because of the fact that it reeked of, we are going to have to kill some time tonight with some nonsensical stuff. And not to say it wasn't bad, because I thought, I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah, I thought what they did, rather, was it may have been Vince trying to tie up some loose ends. Because, he was addressing the whole idea of, no, not only are you going to lose your power here, you will not have any impact on their careers at all. Because in case people, were out there just saying, hey, aren't they still going to work as part of an important part of WWE, so aren't they really not losing anything? And apparently Stephanie and Triple H were under that impression, too. So I thought that was a smart way to tie up a potential loose end and to put a little bit more pressure on what was going to be already an explosive match. So that was cool. And it just bothered me because of the length, because it just reeked of, we're going to add an extra 5 minutes onto this because, hey, why not?
Yeah, I have to be honest, I didn't notice it. And I think I didn't notice because of the fact that I was so disheveled by everything that was going on that it didn't hit me. I was like, oh, good, it's working. That's all I really cared about. Oh, thank God it's working. And same way about this podcast itself, too, different things tonight I felt didn't want us to do this show, but we still trekked on. We kept on just like Team Cena did, and thankfully the captain of Team Cena, Dolph Ziggler, won the night, from what it looks like. I don't know. It's on mute. For all I know, Dolph could just think he won.
Wait, what?
But I think Dolph won, but I'm not sure. I know he's stumbling around, and I think, but I'm wondering if the referee near him is going, no, Dolph. So many people interfered. Dolph, there is no real winner. No, Dolph, stop.
No, Dolph won.
He's pointing to the crowd. He's pointing to the crowd. No, Dolph, you don't count. Dolph, none of this counts. I won. It's all of you. All of you brought back Sting. Yeah. Oh, fuck you, John. Okay, no, never mind. Yeah, I'll do it. No, I'm a little upset. Just Team Cena wins, John Cena. I was waiting for this. Just they're hugging each other. Did you see Sting, dude? I think I did, man.
John's fine to go hug, and do all that stuff. He was not okay to do the run-in that Sting did, which was a brisk walk at best.
I'm still convinced that there was no Sting, and when Dolph said, "Did you see Sting?" John's like, "Of course I did." Get this man a medic. I think he had a concussion.
That was the Sting of our dreams tonight.
I'm still not convinced that Sting was, I don't know about Sting of our dreams, but he was Sting all right. No, but
no, he was Sting, and we'll talk about this when we get to Sting.
I have to understand. It's been muted for me, so I don't know how cool he was. He didn't look as cool as it probably sounded. I'm sure it sounded very cool.
I'm okay with that.
Yes. What I found strange, before we move on, I found it very strange. Apparently we're on the payroll for WWE. Did you know that?
I'm listening. Why are we on the payroll?
I have a clip straight from Triple H's mouth. Let me play it for you.
Those guys are going to come on their hands and knees begging and pleading to keep their jobs.
But apparently, even if we wanted our jobs,
and they're going to get fired anyways. And after they get fired, they're going to be ignored. And once they're ignored, John, they're going to be completely forgotten about.
That hurts.
I knew you were going to say that, actually. I'm very happy you said that. Yeah, I feel the same. It really does hurt. What's great, though, is that I was so behind with the network that I sat there and I said, actually, fuck it. And I did that. I recorded that because I said, you know what? Fuck it. I had about 7 hours to kill.
Well,
so
I do want to be on the payroll.
So I'm going to take those audio files, and that'll be our new opening for Monday Night Raw.
Well, then.
I don't know. I'm going to have to now watch through the network archives and just hear anytime they say those guys and just clip it.
It can be a thing. But, moving on from that moment to the actual first match.
Yeah. Yes, the 4 tag team match. I thought the match was wonderful. I don't know how you feel. I thought it was wonderful. I know it had its slow moments, but there were just some great things about this match where I feel like everyone put something into this. Be it theatrics or be it cool moves.
I mean, wonderful is pushing it for me.
Fair
I
enough.
don't think it was bad. It was for a long time. The majority of the match was slow and just really average. It was just really average.
Enough.
One thing I should point out.
Yeah.
I did like how everyone looked tonight in this match, where it felt like most of them were. I mean, outside of Mizdow, the Usos, the Los Matadores, and I was going to say the Dust Brothers, and I said the Los Matadores. Los Matadores and the Dust Brothers. They were all debuting, looked like new pay-per-view attire, and so the Usos look good in blue. Los Matadores look good in their blue, and Stardust looks really cool in that gold and red thing. I liked it. I don't know about you. I was a big fan.
Sick. No, that was beautiful because it looked like one of those created attires that you do in your video game, but not in a bad way at all.
Yeah, no, it was very well done. It was a nice little alternate attire. I'm a big fan. And, again to the match itself, it dragged on for me for a bit, and I felt like St. Louis and I were kind of in sync because for most of the match, they were chanting for either Mizdow or Stardust, and when they got a full dose of Stardust, they were just like, well, Mizdow or we riot. And otherwise, they were just kind of mellow.
I have to admit, some of what they did tonight I think was really shitty, but that part I agree because I said wonderful because of, the performers, not exactly when they all came together because the match had to be longer than it should have been because I feel as if everything was given more time and then for some reason they decided to put in not exactly squash matches, but just very quick matches like Adam Rose and the Bunny versus Slater Gator, which could have easily been at least a good 5 to 10 minutes. I know how crazy that sounds, but I mean, they can work the match. I mean, the person that's in the bunny suit or the bunny, I don't know which one it is, can work definitely a good match, depending on who it is. But even that, I still think, it's the WWE person who, they can work a match. Versus, and also another one, rather, is AJ versus Nikki, which could have, again, easily been at the least 5 minutes. But could have easily been 10 or 15. And that right there would have just ate up some good time. But we'll get to that later. But anywho, right. The match itself, yes, tag team, very long. I do like, though, that it was long in a way and it wasn't elimination. Because making an elimination makes you sit there and go, all right, Matadors are going to go first. You can definitely tell, I think, via some kind of WWE hierarchy, who's going to lose, who's going to win. But I like that it was just a one fall because you sit there and you go, damn, like I actually thought who was going to win. And I know you might sit there and go, well, I mean, obviously Miz and Mizdow, but they don't always realize that the hottest team should get the title. So in my head, I was thinking it's either going to be the Usos, right? We're going to retain, or in the weirdest far out universe, the Matadors get it. Because it's like, why not? I mean, like they'll sit there and they'll go, damn, Lucha Underground is a thing. We must get more Lucha. How do we get more Lucha? Give things to Spanish people. You got it, Jim. I didn't know where they were going.
I think it's, I guess, amusing to me in a good way. Because I did not know who was going to win this match. I really didn't. Yes. Because I didn't not think they were smart enough to put the belts on Miz and Mizdow.
Thank you.
And they did. And I was glad about that, So I'll give you that in terms of the ending of this match, making this a little stronger, and specifically the way they did it with Mizdow tagging himself in to take the pin, because
yes,
the crowd loved it, and I loved the reaction after where he raised up his hand with the invisible titles, and the crowd cheered. Every time Miz raised up the titles, boo, Mizdow, yeah, boo, yeah, going back and forth with Miz and Mizdow, and that was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yes, there's so much, and also like you said that he tagged himself in. There's so much that they can do with that later, and they always like to keep something in their back pocket for a turn or anything like that. So they, but it's weird because. And you said it. You didn't think they were smart enough. And, I like to say that, too, maybe not as harshly, but in that vein because of the idea that, you look at Cody and Stardust. Oh, yeah, Cody, Stardust, and Goldust. You look at all three of these these people / personas, and you see that, mind you, they got a tag team title run. That is something that we wanted to get. But I feel like overall in their recent careers, let's say like up until they were fighting the Shield, so that's about maybe like a year and a half, close to 2 years ago, in that reign, they've kind of been screwed over, I feel, personally. Because even when they get the titles, they do the same old, let's not give them any promos. Because they have the titles, so they don't need to look good. Now, yes, they've given them some things here and there on some programs, but for the last month-ish, it's been very dull with barely any talking from their end, other than I think you and I were watching Main Event today.
Correct.
The latest one. And they had a 5-second thing right before their match while being cut into the match like they usually do in a little picture-in-picture. So you kind of sit there and you go, so, yeah, because sometimes I will sit there and forget that they have the titles because they're not really doing anything magical anymore. Now you have, Miz and Mizdow pick it up, and hopefully they'll keep up that magic. Because if they don't, then, again, it's just the idea of they're hot, so we should put titles on them. Then what do we do next? Nothing. Genius.
Yeah, it feels like WWE, we'll sit there and be like, hey, you got to put the titles on somebody, and they'll do it and be like, well, that's it, right? That's all we need to do? No, the titles don't exactly speak for themselves as much anymore because of the fact that you booked them into a corner where title holders just aren't naturally important anymore. It's not enough to have the title. You have to be able to do something with it. And
right.
So it's interesting where I feel bad for almost the title holders in a way, where you look at the Dust Brothers and they were a really hot act, and they got the title and they kind of cooled off because they got the title.
Yeah, and even then, also the idea that I said I feel like they've been screwed over is because they were a hot act a while ago. And then all of a sudden, they weren't anymore, and then you thought, okay, so who's going to turn bad? And then they didn't. Cody turned into Stardust. And then they became hot again. And then they had to turn heel. So they're still hot, but they have to not do all the cool things that they did before, although they're still doing a lot of other things. And then people latch on to that in a way. But then you have, Miz and Mizdow come in, which, mind you, you can't feel too bad because, this, to me, I would, if this was the main event, I would have cried. Because looking at Mizdow, looking at Damian Sandow, looking at Idol Stevens, which was his run in 2007. And, yeah, he was a tag team champion then as well. But clearly he was a while ago. He was released. He came back. And then he got so far where he would have been a world heavyweight champion. But then, sadly, he was screwed over by the Authority. Wait, no, it was John. Screwed over by John. And then he kind of, his character looked like he kind of had a downward spiral. But no, he's still, as a human being, as an actor, as whatever you want to call, just sports entertainer, kept it going. And he just put his all into it. And it really shows you that even though this isn't the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, this isn't, the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship, still, you put your everything into it, and you're going to get something. Even if it's just the fans' cheers, and then that in itself pushes them to go, all right, they're going to hijack this show if we don't give them the title. And have it not be someone like Daniel Bryan, who's going for the main title. That's the thing of beauty.
It worked out well, and I think it was a feel-good moment for all of us. Where it's like, wow, Mizdow got some gold on him. That's good. I do think subtly what was awesome is that Miz grabbed both titles because Mizdow is just an extension of him. He's not another person.
Right.
So he is the tag team champions.
He is the tag team champion.
That is.
No, he is the tag team champion.
Slightly, of the whole Kane Daniel Bryan thing, where it's like, I'm the tag team champions. No, I'm the tag team champions. And it was just really fun because now it's not even going to be that kind of argument, but Miz is just going to, in his own gassed up head, is going to think, hey, I am the sole tag team champion. I own this 2-person belt as one person.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can be done there, and I'm just so excited. And I know it might not sound it, but I'm really happy, and I'm really excited that it's happening. Miz and Mizdow, it's happening, and it's happening a lot sooner than I thought. Because had I been the judge, I would have been like, yeah, they'll get the titles in 6 months. They would never just become tag team, players in all of this and then get the championship. No, they would not have it happen, and then they would just be singles wrestlers again. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they would become tag team, tag team again, and then they would get it. Something crazy like that would happen, where Goldust and Stardust would have a 9-month reign at every single pay-per-view, just taking out people like Big Show and Mark Henry, who just look at each other and go, eh? And then they go to challenge for it. But no. We ended up having Miz and Mizdow go, well, I mean, you're my stunt guy. I am the Miz. Let's go, let's do this together. Though I have to admit, I really find it funny that Mizdow was in any way competent to go in there and do it. Where you had commentary even mention, I think it was Jerry, just, why does he go into the ring and fight? Like, shouldn't he just be standing there? And I died because I was like, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because, and Michael Cole was like, are you saying the Miz doesn't do anything in the ring? But I actually kind of understood the whole, because he had a valid point, because, like, if Miz is standing on the ropes, that's what Mizdow needs to be doing. He can't be in the...
It was really funny because, I assume, I don't know why, but I assume that's something that just Mizdow, Damien Sandow, his real name, really just cleared himself. Like, he just did it once, and then everyone was so much, so good. They loved it so much that someone like Vince or whoever just said, keep on doing it. They love it. Keep on doing it. And it, in a way, changed up what their original plan was because, I mean, I'm not saying that WWE is great with inconsistency, but yeah, that is kind of inconsistent, which is really funny, where it's just, if Miz is in the ring, he must, I guess you could say he must be practicing his craft while Miz is in the ring, no matter what. But when he's in the ring, he is now the Miz.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because they talk about this in the sense that, when Damien came in, they tried to pull quote-unquote twin magic. Mm-hmm. So there's stuff like that.
Right, but something that was great, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you. I thought that Sandow was going to jump off of the stairs and flip, onto the mat on the outside of the ring, but even he realized that would hurt him. So he just jumped, he springboarded into the ring.
I was glad because apparently he can springboard very cleanly.
Yeah, so
Keep that in mind.
CM Dow imminent? CM Dow return.
I think it's not impossible, but I doubt WWE would ever got that kind of stones because they were really, courageous in letting Paul Heyman acknowledge it. And that was it. I think that's all we got to see him.
Because Paul Heyman knows him. It's
Correct.
a bit different than Paul Heyman knowing being a friend with CM Punk. I remember there was an interview thing where they said, "Oh, do you still talk to Punk?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, so what do you talk to him about?" He goes, "Well, I mean, I call him and we'll talk about the latest True Detective episode, and then that's that." Like it's just like you're not going to call.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be about work.
WWE. Yeah, no, not at all. So see, he knows CM Punk a bit different. That's also with all the the lawsuits and stuff, and CM Punk owning his name and everything. Phil Brooks owning his CM Punk name. It would never happen, but just in my head, I find it really funny where it's just CM Dow. But they would never. I don't think they can. No. But so anyway, moving forward, I can't wait for that Stone Cold podcast. I really think it's going to be great.
It's a really smart move for them to do that. Because
very smart.
Our fact checker always complains about things Maddie, of course, always complains about things that could be done in terms of improving what's going on in the WWE network. And one of the things they could provide is you look at guys like Jericho or Stone Cold, and it's like, so when you do a really good podcast, let's put that through the network or something of that nature. Because people will really, really be happy for that. And I know broadcasting through the network sounds like a broken thing because, like, they give us videos, not podcasts. But just bring in these people to do shows or sanction, promote their shows, their podcasts on the network because it can only help you.
Right. Well, no, I mean, we could technically do that too, if we were in a more soundproof, and because I have a lovely microphone that would work, but, we're not really in soundproof areas where if we both just talked over each other and everything, it wouldn't, kind of sound awkward. So that's why we do it, all jokes that we always make where it's like, you're right next to me. Well, you're not. You're right next to me in spirit, but you're not, because that's just how we do it. But there's nothing wrong with getting let's say, if we had a soundproof room, getting a camera in there and recording us doing podcasts, because you can see how well we'd work off each other and how fun it would be. And I assume, McMahon and Austin are going to be very fun working together on this show. And of course it's a very historic show to do.
Yeah,
so it's not,
Stone Cold and McMahon, these are the guys who essentially laid the foundation for the Attitude Era, really blew it out of the water. And
not the best era, but...
Yeah, anything involving Vince, the guy who was the owner of WWE, that's big. And then you got Stone Cold, who's beloved. It speaks for itself.
Yes. Also, let me clarify. I said that because Triple H, I think it was on SmackDown, so it definitely wasn't on Survivor Series. But on SmackDown, he just said, the Attitude Era, the best era in this business. And I'm like, with the most talented superstars. And I was like, listen. In my head, I was like, listen. Yes, we had a lot of big names there. We had great people there. He named the big names. And I was like, yes, that is correct, Triple H. You being one of the names, by the way. But I sat there and I was like, but the talent right now. You look at everyone on the roster right now, and maybe you can look at, let's say, 2 or 3 people and go, maybe you can't work as well as, some of the others. But in no way do I think, other than like someone like Jack Swagger, who is accident prone, but I don't look around and just go, yep, you're going to kill someone in the ring. Oh, you just can't do this. You're going to stink up the place completely. I don't really see that from a lot of the male superstars. And even with the female wrestlers as well, you only have a few, I think, that are just so bad that it's just, you can be a valet. So it's just very interesting with talent right now. So I felt really sad a bit where Triple H was going, that was the best. That is not a good thing to say on your current product.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so podcast is great. The Super Strikers segment got me so angry, you have no idea. You have no fucking idea. Because guess what? Adam Rose is still a heel, so he was doing heelish things, but still, why have him then be the guy who's playing with toys that the faces do for fun? And then, heels are going to come up and say shit to him, Slater Gator, and it's just complete horseshit. Because just how do they not get that he's the heel in this? The same thing happened to Bo for a bit, where it's just, even if you're going to sit there and go, but it's a slight heel turn, Matt. Wrong. If you saw a main event, the man sat there and called himself a god. If that's a slight heel turn, then Frieza was just, going around and talking a bit. He wasn't really a threat or anything. Frieza was just kind of going around the galaxies and just being, not a nice guy. That's the only way I can compare it to. Cell, he was just, look at Cell. What was he really doing? Dragon Ball Z references, everyone, but they're accurate.
No, it completely irks me because of this whole, we were so hyped watching Adam Rose on Main Event. Because I sat there and I was like, wow, that was a great promo. Just essentially, I'm a god, or at the very least, I'm a savior, because I took these people from nothing, and I gave them everything, especially the bunny. And then I turn around and I look at the Rosebuds, and he's just like, hey, now sing. And they sing for him.
Yeah.
And it's just,
he's
like, puppet master, judge, jury, executioner. He is in control of the Rosebuds. And even when he left the bunny to suffer in a match, they walked out with him, even though their god had just essentially betrayed a follower. But they left with him. So the heel turn was there, and then today it was just a matter of, again, they seem to have mixed up their timing, because A promo like what we got on Main Event should have been then after something like today. Because today, tonight rather, continued that heel turn in a subtle way, but he was already there at Main Event. I mean, if you call yourself a god, you've hit it, man. You have hit that point.
I don't think you're fucking subtle. If that's WWE subtlety, then and it's funny because I know we brought the idea that WWE doesn't do subtle, but still, that was hitting you with a ton of bricks. How can you hit someone with a ton of bricks and then pull it off them? And then basically just go, all right, let's continue with our good behavior. No one would ever throw large objects at someone's head specifically and then continue calling themselves a good guy. No one would ever do that in the history of WWE.
Interesting that you mentioned that. But no.
But seriously, it's very, very, very upsetting because it's just and we'll get to more of the, the problem when the match arises later. But as of right now, it's an issue because you could have easily had, you could have had it be a lot more subtle and then given that Main Event promo next week when it deserves to be there. Because, again, we'll get to that later. Because as of right now, it's just, it's heels versus what looks to be good people. And it's just, no. The things that he's done to this quote-unquote bunny for the last few weeks, in no way should you have, Slater Gator. I mean, they can shit on him, right? But honestly, the only way to make it better, if really, was just to have the Rosebuds attack them there in a violent fury, and Adam Rose laughing maniacally in the background.
I'd like something like that where if they can sit there and be kind of nervous about him, but if somebody comes in and questions Adam Rose, then they start attacking and he encourages it.
Not even. They just go, I want them to be very docile as if they're just, trained mercenaries, where it's just, immediately they just go nuts on him, where it's just, everybody, I don't think that he's a rosebud, I'm pretty sure that he's a lemon. What do we do to lemons? And they're like, make lemonade, and they just fuck them up completely.
I'd be down with it.
Because, and it sounds so silly, to say this 2 months ago, because we never wanted something like that. But honestly, if that's what it takes to have the WWE behind him, to have him be pushed, to show his moveset in the ring, and to also have, him behind it, because maybe he just didn't like this face character either. I never got that impression because they never had the chance to give him enough time. And when they did it in NXT, he was great. So I don't think he doesn't like it, but maybe he just also enjoys playing the heel. I hear many do because of how easy it can be and how fun it can be. So, hey, maybe he also enjoys this more and they maybe see that. And because I see that he really enjoys it when he gives his promos, because I haven't seen one bad promo with him. Even this, he was good at. It's just the idea that we'll settle it over games. Where should kids sit there and go, that is how we should settle our problems too if we ever want to beat the hell out of each other. I mean, I guess that's a good thing to say.
But then there was also the whole thing of they were going to settle it through a game, but then he tried to convince him not to do anything because he's like, I've saved you, so stop. Stop doing anything.
I will admit, that was funny, but it's not in the funny that it should be. One of those things where, again, two people pitch it in the back, you and I pitching it in the back, we laugh, we go, that's hilarious, and then we move on. Sadly, WWE says that's hilarious. Let's put it live on television. It is literally like, in some ways, children just got the key to the castle, the key to the candy store. And it's just, if we can put it on TV, it'll be there.
Yeah, and of course, time. They needed to kill some time some way.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but just with those two, I didn't really enjoy it. Now, let's move on to one of the... Okay, there's something that wasn't bad. All right, this wasn't bad exactly. It was just, again, the timing was bad. The Divas Survivor Series match coming on so early at 8:51... Or not 8:51, I'm sorry, it was earlier than that. I was behind. But the fact that it was still going on so early, even earlier than John Cena versus Randy Orton, within the Hell in a Cell, that was upsetting. Because here's the thing, ready? You know how we feel, where it's just, if it's the main match of the night, as in, let's say Survivor Series or Hell in a Cell, they should be one after another, right? But you know what? Fine. You want to say that the Hell in a Cell was so big and impactful, blah, 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 okay. But damn it, 2 Survivor Series matches in a row should be a thing. I'm sorry. It really irked me that not only was it earlier than the other one, well, obviously it's going to be earlier than the other one because it hasn't really been built, but that much earlier really irked me.
It was interesting to me that they went through with this because, first off, they were short one member on each team. So we
Which,
had
again, is
a
crazy.
4-on-4 instead of a 5-on-5. And
right.
It was weird for me because I felt like they weren't going to give this time, and they did. So I was a bit more pleasantly surprised because I sat there and I was like, you know what? I thought this match was going to suck, not because of the people in it, but because I didn't think they'd get time. And it didn't. I was still uncomfortable with certain stuff because essentially they booked everyone on Paige's team to be useless. And that Paige herself is a coward and just not skilled. So I was kind of upset at the whole clean sweep thing because I know they like to pretend like they do these kind of matches so often with the Divas in terms of the random like matches and squashes and messes and stuff that they book them the same way they do the males, of course, that's kind of implied. But it annoys me because Paige couldn't even get a pin, and that's, of course, half my bias because it's like, Paige should have got a pin. But on top of that, everyone else, Summer has so much charisma and talent, nothing. Cameron, of course, because she's black, was the first person pinned. And obviously, she's getting better.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. I also think the crowd didn't help either because, the crowd was
not help at all.
This is where I completely disagree and I don't like the crowd because here's the thing, and this is my exact notes. Fuck this crowd for shitting on a good match. Now, again, it wasn't the best match, obviously, but the thing is, if you think that Cameron sucks, right? There's a word for that. Actually, two. Cameron sucks, and that's not even a crazy. It's just Cameron sucks. It's not even something crazy that we want to make up here. It's just, if she's the problem, just say it. Hell, Paige was fighting Emma, and that was great. So bringing up the idea, I'm bringing this up because they were chanting like Randy Savage and then went for We Want Mizdow, where you sit there and you're like, fucking listen, right? What is your malfunction? Because now all of a sudden, right? I'm not saying that the back couldn't easily look at anything that happens and go, this is why we shouldn't do it. But isn't that a great little thing right there? Be like, well, the live crowd started to get a little antsy around 15 minutes. Because, yes, the match was 15 minutes. 12 more minutes than I thought they were going to get. 15 minutes. So in sitting there, and that's not including entrances or anything, just 15 minutes match. So, they're getting kind of antsy, so we should probably never do anything like this again. I think the 2 minutes thing was great. The crowd went nuts for the AJ thing. So, or at least they were shocked, which is what we tried to do. We think that's better. We should probably do more of that and less of this, women wrestling shit. Oops, did we say wrestling? Women's sports entertaining and shit. We should really stop that.
Yeah, no, I was just glad that they got more time than I thought. And
the crowd turned around. I think they really enjoyed the match by the end.
Yeah, because they realized it was fun. And to her credit, by the way, Naomi debuted a really vicious finisher.
No, she did not. She's done it before, but she's been barely used, so I'm not blaming you. And I'm sorry if I sounded harsh, because she's used it before. But they barely used her. So...
I know, I was making a joke. But,
oh, really? I thought you were serious because...
No, I was making a joke on the fact that she's never used. But I like that she got to work a little bit today because, you and I think specifically have talked about Naomi being a potential talent and being athletic. So it was nice to see her do her thing. And also one of the big highlights for me, admittedly, at the end of the match, Tyson Kidd has headphones on the entire freaking match. And as soon as they win, he steps in front of his wife on the turnbuckle to celebrate. Yeah. And that was really goddamn funny to me.
It was. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And a wonderful, wonderful thing about Tyson. A beautiful, beautiful thing. Just the fact that he could just do that. And also, I like that he had his headphones on the whole match because you heard things like Natty's husband. So I kind of sit there and I go, you know what? I get it, Tyson. Like, I get why you'd want to not really hear them and just kind of listen to what's, and see what's going on in the ring. And then, oh, wait, there was a pinfall? Awesome, I'm getting in on this.
It just made me laugh so much. WWE even tweeted about it, where it was like, hey, look at this. Naomi, Natalya, Emma, and no, I'm sorry, not Layla. Help me out here. Who was the last member of the team?
what was it? I'm sorry, Naomi? You said Naomi?
Emma.
Emma. Natalia. You only named 3 this time.
Yeah, I'm asking, give me the...
We're losing all of them. Oh, my bad. I'm still thinking there were 5. Naomi, Emma, Natalia, Eva Marie. No. Wait a minute. JoJo. Wait, no.
Alicia Fox.
Yes.
Alicia Fox was...
Okay. I'm sorry. To our credit, everyone, and I usually don't do this, and say, well, here's why we were right in doing this. 2 things. First off, I would like to mention that she's great, so it had nothing to do with her ability in the match. The problem is that she's considered a face in everything, which is really screwing up our censors here. Because it's just, no, Alicia Fox couldn't have been on the good team. Even when Alicia Fox went up against other people, I was like, Emma must be a heel. No, wait, no, she's the face.
No, yeah, Alicia's a good on the good people's side because of the fact that Paige beat her up, so she is a face because she wants revenge against Paige. And, of course, she looked good in the match with the Northern Lights suplex and the Tilt-A-Whirl backbreaker. But, no, so,
right.
My apologies there to forgetting because I'm just not into it right now. But, so that 4 of them, WWE tweeted out, like, hey, Alicia Fox, Natalia, Naomi, and Emma, and apparently Tyson Kidd won the match.
That's great. One thing I want to mention that wasn't so great. Usually I don't shit on the announce team. I feel like we just make jokes. Unless, of course, it's something that's very sexist. I feel like we usually just make jokes.
This match was the time to shit on them.
Yeah. You can't just call the effects of a move like a suplex off the second rope. You need to mention that it's actually happening, especially from a division that doesn't do that all of the time. You don't even have to say that they don't do it all the time. You can just say, wow, that suplex off the second rope must have hurt. We see a lot of that here, and guess where that started? Down at NXT. If you have the network, even if they start to turn it into a network shill, still, the idea that it's just, if you have the WWE network, you can see Paige versus Emma. Because it's not their first time in a fucking ring together.
Right, and of course their last match together being essentially what was Emma's last match kind of on NXT. I mean, it felt like it was their last appearance on NXT.
Well, no, it was their last huge match. I mean, I know they've been in
quote-unquote pay-per-view.
Yes. Because they've tagged before even. I know they tagged with Bayley.
Correct.
They randomly ran in to tag in with Bayley at one NXT. So they've been in matches together since then, but their last huge match that you can actually go see on the network for $9.99 once all the other people go away and make the streams better. You can, though maybe you are one of those people, oh no. For $9.99, you can go see NXT TakeOver. And they had a very great... That's the thing. If you have the network and you go see that, maybe they shouldn't be promoting that because you promote it. Then you come back to the main product and you go, there's something wrong here. I don't know what it is.
I think what pissed me off is that King, after they did their whole thing in the beginning about King's Court and Survivor Series matches and whatever, randomly brought the subject back to himself, where they had gotten off of it and they were talking, about something else for a bit. The match is still going on, and then out of nowhere, King was like, actually, that wasn't even the weirdest team that I had been part of when I was at Survivor Series. And I'm like, King, match! All of you, there's a match, and it's not bad. What are you doing?
Yeah, there's a reason why. At first, I think I don't know if it was a joke or not, but there's a reason why we may end up calling certain matches ourselves, not live, because of course there is a sense of, oh dear God, what if something doesn't work with streaming or in any case anything like that, or let's say Monday Night Raw, we're both watching Raw, we want to call it live, and maybe one of our cable systems goes out or something crazy like that. But yeah, in the future, you can probably see those guys calling some matches here and there. Not always the incompetence of the announce team at the time, especially if you want to do some older matches. But still, just the idea that let's take a stab at this, damn it. We're fun. We're hip. I'm fun. I'm hip. Hipper than Jerry the King Lawler. I'm hip.
Apparently.
Yeah. No, but seriously, all jokes aside, Jesus, what was that? I mean, and you know what? Fine. I mean, I didn't notice what you said, but, granted, sure, on that. But just the idea of if there's big things happening, you should mention them at least once. Not the after effect, but just the fact that it's like, are they setting this up? I mean, this is a pretty huge thing, isn't it? It is. Even for the males matches, none of them did something like that tonight, I believe. So in my head,
was pretty bad tonight, in general.
Fair enough. But anyway, so yeah, the match itself was pretty good. I'm happy that the fans turned back on it instead of turning their back on it, which they did at first. Summer Rae was great. I mean, when she screamed for that kick, I laughed really hard because Naomi stopped. As if that could be in the game, where it's just, if you click R2 to reverse, Summer Rae screams, and then Naomi is stunned. So I think that was fun. Because it was kind of, like you said, the match was fun. They really were getting into themselves as characters. And something that's great, before we have to move on, I was so happy, I don't know, this really made me laugh, like really hard, that WWE accidentally, I'll say it like this, WWE oopsie-daisied turning Paige into Daniel Bryan.
I'm listening.
They end up putting her against 4 people, and the crowd just like, yeah, Paige, man. It's like, you're supposed to be booing her. Not that they're supposed to be booing Daniel Bryan, but in a way, you have, like, Batista come back, and it's supposed to be like, yeah, Batista's the winner here, and all of a sudden it's just actually, no, we don't want this. Oh, wait, no, Randy Orton, no, we don't want this. We want Daniel Bryan. So in a way, it's like Daniel Bryan versus the world. And for about a good 5 to 10 seconds, it turned into Paige versus the world. And everyone was cheering. And I'm just laughing because, again, it's just the WWE oopsie-daisy train where they just constantly go to each station and they're just like, you want this, don't you? Actually, it's the most vile thing in the world. Oopsie-daisy. Well, time to go to the next station. Who are we going to screw over this week?
Right.
So it was just really, really funny to me, where go back and watch it, and there was just this, not a huge, crazy Daniel Bryan pop, but there was more of a pop than a heel should get when it's 1 versus 4 face characters. Where, like, in other words, right, even though Seth Rollins is enjoyed by some, still, Seth Rollins versus 4 members of, let's say, Team Cena, people would have been like, maybe cheering as in, yeah, get Rollins, or like, like, you gonna get, or maybe it'd be like, yeah, but no, it was Paige versus everyone, and you were here like, Paige! I was like, and I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, they did not mean for this to happen.
Yeah, no, I realized about halfway through the match that it would definitely be that way, where it's like, oh, it's going to be fate, and I thought she would get at least 1 pin in, because,
of course,
you know what, she can work, it makes sense, right? But they go for the whole clean sweep thing, and I was just a little bit disappointed.
Right. And of course, I know I keep on saying before we move on, but I really mean it this time. It really, we really should have found a way to introduce the Divas title into this. Even if it was something as simple as, not as simple, but something like, the women in this match beforehand kind of interrupt Paige and Nikki together, and maybe you have, Stephanie coming out and saying, look, I have a lot to deal with right now. I might not have my job in a few days, but you know what? Now I have to come out here and feel like I'm a babysitter? Well, you know what? Fine. How about this? It's going to be a 5-on-5 match, just like we said, and the winner, the sole winner, will be the Divas champion. So it doesn't matter what side. What matters is if AJ loses, she has a chance of losing. If AJ wins, she wins the title. But the point is that it makes it a lot more interesting than what we got on one end, and it also makes the Survivor Series match at least have some kind of weight to it, rather than just a simple feel-good moment that to some, sadly, does feel like it's just kind of throwaway. Because it's not like anyone on the side of the good people, right, are going to win anything glorious, like a title shot or anything like that, because they just won this match. There were no stakes whatsoever. I'd like to make that clear to everyone. There were no stakes whatsoever.
Righto.
So anywho, also TLC is 3 weeks away.
Yeah, just 3 weeks. I mean, not even a full month for a build. That's saying something.
Before we go on to Ambrose Wyatt, I quickly want to make something that I found funny. I think it's hilarious that they would think that people are just tuning into their first pay-per-view because of the free network. Yes, there are people seeing their first pay-per-view. New viewers, parents buying it for their kids, of course. But I just think it's really funny that they thought, well, we made this pay-per-view free, So clearly a ton of people are going to be like, pay-per-view? What's that? And then immediately go, well, I didn't give WWE a chance before, but they were free. So I decided, fuck all of the social stigma. I might as well try something that's free. Like as if you just found free cocaine. And you sat there and thought, well, I mean, you know, from what I've heard, all my life, I've been ostracized for even thinking of using cocaine. But now it's free and legal.
I really want to make sure that people know that you just somehow took WWE and watching a pay-per-view and compared it to cocaine. And the last I heard of cocaine is
addictive. It's not. Yeah,
cocaine is a hell of a drug. In a bad way.
Cocaine is addictive. It's not bad. Cocaine is addictive. It's bad.
You just said it's not bad.
It is bad for you. It's pretty bad for you, arguably, from what I've heard. So
I can go back now tomorrow and check in our archives and hear you say, yeah, cocaine is a drug. It's not bad.
What's great is that you will find that archive tomorrow, but I will have already switched the audio with Those Guys by Triple H. Every bad thing I say that's potentially bad for the Those Guys brand will be replaced with Triple H's soothing voice.
Yeah, we'll see, because I'll be here tomorrow to mention that you apparently called cocaine not bad. But in any case, moving off cocaine and bad commentary for women's matches.
No, but seriously, though, I have to be honest with you, all jokes aside, just the idea that they think that people will just automatically try the network. Try a pay-per-view. Not even the network, just a pay-per-view. And also the fact that they wouldn't do this every single month. Where it's just, you want to do this every single month for new viewers, say it. But don't just do it on your free month and just go, perfect, we got that clear. Let's not do this ever again. Unless we have another free month, in which case, hey, it might be your first pay-per-view. So let's give you a few things here and there to make you, like up to date, if you will. Anyway, so
it's such a small demographic that they were applying to with that. That's just ridiculous. But going ahead.
Ambrose versus Wyatt. At first I felt disappointed in the match, but like any match, I just think it was slow because that's just what happened. Because when it picked up, it wasn't spectacular in an athletic sense, but they were able to do some great things, like with the 10 counts. Finisher, teasers, and taunt stealing, and of course the ending, which was also very, interesting.
Yeah, so storytelling is a big thing for me in wrestling.
Yes.
Where you'll hear me sometimes talk about some matches and say, that wasn't a great match in terms of wrestling physically, but storytelling, it was amazing. And I'll give matches credit for being great storytelling. And they were very direct with us to the end where Bray fucking cuts a promo on him. But I like that because, like I said, like I've said before on the Raw podcast, rather, the build to this was just underwhelming, and they could have done so much more. So this is the kind of thing where it branches out over like a 2-3 pay-per-view span, and it now has time to develop into a real feud, where by the time you get to the full payoff, whether, that be in December or in January, either of which are fine, because December being the TLC pay-per-view, January being Royal Rumble, one of the big four, it's just going to be good, and they need more time to build this feud. And I like today Bray kind of just losing it for a second there, just kind of, hey, we could have had it all, why? And then immediately returning to his form by tempting Ambrose to DQ him, and Ambrose beat the crap out of him and buried him, which was awesome under all those weapons.
It is.
But he didn't really bury Bray, because Bray's going to be around tomorrow and just laugh at him and be like, you proved my point. You're different.
Yeah, I assume as much, even though they ended it in a really weird way, which makes me a little nervous, but I assume as much. I obviously, the smart thing to do would be that. So so that's what worries me. But I assume that, yes, they would go along with it and have Bray on tomorrow. Something interesting, I think, that you mentioned, of course, tempting to DQ. And it's really nice how Bray doesn't understand how he's dealt with baby faces up until now, where he's like, he's trying to, and I think that's, in a way, he does realize that, where he felt so bad because I think maybe he thought it was so easy, where it was easy with Harper. It was easy with Rowan. Why is it not as easy with Ambrose? Because Ambrose has an iron will, but not in the same way Daniel Bryan and John Cena do, where, John Cena, hit me, John, but you won't. Hit me, Daniel, but you won't. Hit me. Oh, God, Ambrose, stop it. Ambrose, I just say a little bit. That was one chair. Why are you bringing so many? I said one chair, stop it, Ambrose,
They
stop it.
They have wills in different ways. Where, like, at the end of the day, they toot their own horn. They play by their own rules. You know, they walk to the beat of their own, their own unique drum beat, as they would say, or whatever it might be.
Right,
and
their own drum.
For John and for Daniel Bryan, they're still clear-cut faces. Ambrose is a tweener, and on top of that, he's also one who's deemed unstable. So it makes sense that he would flip out and just go nuts on Bray here. And it's fun because Bray, of course, being someone of Iron Will himself, is really going to want to save Ambrose, and he'll just sit there and laugh because in his head it just proves exactly what he thought. That Dean is different than everybody else. Be like, nobody else would have done that but you. That's why we can be everything together, and just try to convince him. And Ambrose, of course, will now have to spend 4 weeks fighting off this guy who now more than ever is going to want him to work with him. So
yes,
I think it's cool. It wasn't what I expected, but I liked it. I did like it.
Yeah, no, and just the match itself, by the way, I think so many people were confused going in because kids, I think they can go, well, Dean Ambrose because he isn't Bray Wyatt, right? But I feel like once you hit that teenager level, you're so confused because I remember being a teenager, and I think someone like Ambrose would have really connected with me where I would have thought, yeah, man, I don't know myself either. Yeah, and I feel like I would just kind of connect to this Ambrose character and what he brings. And I'm not saying I don't love Ambrose now because I really, really do. But now that I'm older and I realize that I am a performer, and that I enjoy performing, and I think about, because I feel like not all teenagers, because I want to generalize, but certain teenagers like myself when I was younger would have went, yeah, if I get to WWE, I want to be Dean Ambrose because, yeah, man. But then you get older, right? And then not everyone, of course, thinks this, but you get older and you go, for me at least, I think, wow, Bray, like I want to be that kind of performer, the guy who just does what Bray does. And it's really funny, I think, how it just, again, splits fans in the middle.
I had no idea who I wanted to win going in. And I talked about this where it was like in my head, I like Dean a little bit more as a character, as a human being, as in WWE. But Bray really needed to come out looking strong from something because he hasn't had a chance to look strong in forever. So,
and I think...
And Ambrose could bounce back a little bit easier, I think, because of the fact that... Now, I didn't want him to lose, though. So it was confusing because I'm like, I want this feud, but I also don't want this feud because somebody has to win and somebody has to lose.
I agree. And as you mentioned, there was a chance where, we kind of sat there and we thought, oh, darn, who's going to get this? Because, you think about it and you're like you said, one guy wins and then we're all like, yeah, he won. One guy loses and we go, no. I mean, it was really kind of hard to call on our end. And then also, I thought that Bray kind of came out looking a bit weak, unless, of course, tomorrow we end up having just Bray looking just fine. Because if Bray looks fine tomorrow, then we're good.
You think Bray came out looking weak from this match?
In the sense that he, I don't want to say weak as in the match, just the ending was pretty strange to me where, of course, Ambrose went nuts on him, but it felt like overkill.
Well, it's supposed to be overkill because it makes Bray look strong. I mean, and we had some quirky stuff throughout the entire time. Maddie, of course, mentioning that their favorite moment was when they nearly made out. But
right. Understandably so, yes. It was an interesting match, and many things that happened, and I mean, I don't think he looked weak, but I want to see what tomorrow holds because he might not look weak if he ends up coming out looking very strong.
Because he can. He can come out there in a position of control tomorrow when he cuts his promos and essentially say, like, this is what I wanted all along. It's not the same as turning John Cena into a monster, but it just re-ups his point. Just like you're different, you're unstable, and I can heal you, and together we can win everything. Literally everything. Yeah.
There's a lot that can come from this. Although I would like to mention another commentary, snafu to me. Usually, we make jokes, and sometimes we talk about the idea of inconsistencies, and the one that I want to really bring up, that we usually bring up, is the idea that even for a bit, before he threw in every chair, but just in the beginning, for some reason Michael Cole had to justify Dean Ambrose's actions, where it's just, well, Bray Wyatt did do all that poking and prodding. And you sit there and you just think, no, No. There's, I know Bray's been an ass, and mind you, a huge ass, but you shouldn't be telling anyone, yes, he deserves getting hit with a few chairs.
Right, because again, Dean is not a clear-cut face, so there's no reason you need to defend everything he does, because he's going to do certain things that are just not things you want to be as an example for children. But we, as older people, fitting into a story, can understand it and buy into it, because we'll sit there and be like, yeah, Bray should have got the crap knocked out of him, bringing up his father in jail and all that stuff. Somebody need to knock him upside the head. And on the flip side, it's like, but that's not an appropriate way of handling things, kids. Be more fair about it.
If any kids are listening to this at 12:46, hopefully in the archives, but about 12:46 a.m. live. Yeah, first off, go to bed. Kids are
listening to our podcast.
I'm fairly certain no kids are listening to our podcast, but if they are, go to bed. So, come watch us in the morning after you come back from school.
Watch us in the morning when we have a video, apparently, because people watch podcasts.
You didn't know? You didn't know? Well, they do on the WWE Network, apparently.
Yeah. But anyway, good storytelling. I look forward to seeing them tomorrow night, too, or rather tonight, because we've hit past 12 o'clock. And that's always a good thing, I would say, because if they manage to get us to think, I want to see what happens as a result of this, good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. So we move on to a quick little Team Authority promo where they had a really good speech by Triple H. But, in my opinion, it sucked at the end of it where he had to kind of throw threats at them, because I know it's just me on this. And I know, I guess I have a different way of feeling of certain things. But I know he's bad and he kind of rules by fear. But, and they are at their wits' end. They don't know if they're going to live or die. But for me, usually things like that dissuade me. Where if you told me, you know what, if you're a champion, you'll lose, I'll be like, you know what, fuck this, man. I don't want to go into this shit. And I would leave. It's me. I don't know why. That's just how I feel.
No, I laughed because you said it was a really good speech, and it just was so cliche to me. It was so,
true.
Right, it was like 300, or just any time you're leading warriors before a battle, it's just the most cliche thing in the world. And I was laughing because in my head it's like, tonight we dine in hell. But Hunter, we're not. Immediately you flash back the camera angle, Triple H is in full Spartan armor with a cape protruding from his back. It's like, how did that even happen?
Kane is wearing his mask again?
Yes.
Yes. We just they're really confused. They flash back, Kane is not in his mask, but he is also in Spartan armor. Triple H is wearing his mask.
I'm okay with this. But
anyway,
it was cliche, but I liked it because
it
made sense from, again, people who were fighting for their jobs. They may be assholes, but they're fighting for their jobs. So it makes sense that they're sitting there doing whatever they think is humanly possible, worthwhile, to make sure that their jobs get saved. And that the people they're sending out there are as motivated as freaking possible. Fun fact, though, if they said fight 5 more times in unison, Steen would have had to materialize by default. So it's good that they stopped when they did.
Yes, actually, if you look in the mirror and you in the darkness and you say, kill Steen, kill, kill Steen, kill, kill Steen, kill, Kevin Steen will appear. He will give you a handshake. He will not take your autograph. You will not get an autograph from him, though. But he will definitely have a handshake, and he will then disappear. If you say, fight, Steen, fight, fight, Steen, fight, fight, Steen, fight, he will appear and go, really, dude? Check out my Ring of Honor work. And then he will say, thank you for being a fan, though. And then he will disappear. I've tried this 2 times.
Fight Kevin, fight isn't going to roll off the tongue as easy as kill Steen, kill. Or fight Owens, fight. But, it'll happen. I think fight Kevin, fight will be a thing. It's just really funny because every time I hear the name Kevin, I think of Kevin from SpongeBob. So in my head, it's just Kevin.
No, I think of a few Kevins that we know, which is really funny. So I think we should just scream at some of them that know wrestling, and they'll go, and then ones that don't, and then see what they have to say. We should video that. Just fight Kevin, fight. Fight Kevin, fight. No. Fight Kevin, fight. And we'll see where that goes. Those guys' YouTube channel, where we make quality work.
I'm okay with this.
Okay, so we're up to Rose and Bunny. That's their tag team name, Rose and Bunny. Rose the Bunny versus Slater Gator. Now,
Slater and the Gator, according to the nameplate, which still will piss me off.
Right. I don't know. I think the match between Rose and the Bunny should have happened on this pay-per-view, right? Or, if there was, it's either that or just not have, any chance of them breaking up. Where for some reason we work it into, no, everyone's fine, don't worry, they're both heels together. Because the Bunny has been doing some weird heelish stuff recently, and then Rose hasn't been cool with it, and then slightly turning heel himself, which even though the Bunny has been doing heelish stuff, I know it sounds scary, everyone, but try and come with me here. That turns the Bunny into a face and Rose into a heel. But after this tag team match, they both displayed heelish characteristics that make me sit there and go, so are they a heel tag team? And then the end of the match happened, and it's just, no, we're turning Rose face? Because that's not a face thing to do. Just take your followers and run. So it's like, are we turning Rose face without followers? Are we turning him heel without followers? Or are we now basically making his followers become their own thing? And then maybe that's the WWE cost-efficient method where he loses his followers because he loses a bunch of people to travel with him all the time. And now it's kind of a Bray Wyatt thing where he's looking for Bray isn't looking for, Bray is technically, but like a massive amount of followers, where like Rose kind of comes out every week and just goes, do you fancy yourself a rosebud? It's, no thank you. So you're a lemon. No. And then Rose destroys you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing for me where I don't know what I want to say about this, to be honest, but frustration in my head because they could really work with this heel Adam Rose character and they're refusing to. Slater gets pinned again just out of nowhere because why not? By a man in a bunny suit. And I'm just kidding.
No, he's not. He's a bunny.
Right. Sorry, he's a bunny tonight. He's not a man in a bunny suit. He was a bunny tonight.
Oh, he was a man in a bunny suit tonight, but then he was also a bunny.
See, you understand my frustration, though, because it's just...
Oh, yeah.
I really like Adam Rose. I really like Heath Slater. I don't mind Titus O'Neil as long as he's with Heath Slater. And I'm sure whoever in the bunny suit I like, too. But whatever they're doing with these people all involving right now, I don't like it. I don't know what they're doing with Adam Rose and the bunny, but I would only hope that Raw brings us something more definitive in terms of his heel turn so we can live with it. Because right now, I'm not itching for an ending and like, oh my God, are they going to do it away? It's just like, please get it over with so I can appreciate heel Adam Rose. Because
they've done it.
And he's going to be good. I mean, there's proof as of recently of Tuesday night of it being good if they decided to let that be a thing.
Yeah, no, it's really, I think, and it sucks too because I think it's just WWE style in general. Where like, let's be honest, it's not even just an Adam Rose thing. John Cena can come out, and he could have came out tonight, right? And he could have whipped everyone on his team with a ladder. I mean, each and every one of them, just beaten them down with a ladder, bloodied them up, got them into the ring, and pinned each and every one of them one by one. Triple H would have lifted his arm up. And that would have been the end of the night. And what would have the promos have been on Raw? Has John Cena turned bad? I'm pretty sure he has. But what if he hasn't? Arguably, I think he's bad. And then in about 3 weeks, up until TLC, it would be, is he bad or is he not? And it's just, no, guys, I'm pretty sure that was a mean thing to do. I'm pretty sure there's no way you could twist this in any way. Michael Cole finds a way. Jerry Lawler finds a way. I'm sure there's no way you can twist this into making it seem like John Cena was right at all. That was a pretty heelish thing to do. John Cena's now a heel, right? But no, that's just their style, where they give Adam Rose a promo where he goes, I'm basically a god. And that's verbatim. And for some reason, everyone's chill with that. Well, I mean, the Rosebuds are, yes. But we're supposed to take it as, yeah, no, whatever. He isn't a bad guy. Those Slater Gator guys, though, well, they're bad. I mean, they just came and made fun of Adam Rose for playing with toys. Why would they make fun of a god? But anywho, let's not rant on this too much.
For what it's worth, though, I still really like the mashup theme between Slater and Titus O'Neil. Slater Gator has a really, really cool. I love it.
Yes. And before we move on, like as we mentioned earlier, there didn't need to be a squash match here. You could have easily given the Diva match some more time, either the one earlier or we realized later, the one later. Also, as we mentioned, the frustration is because they mention Michael Cole. In case anyone's confused, that is a guy in the bunny suit. JBL, of course, laughs and going, well, no duh, Moggle, right? And then later on, when it's just, Slater just got beaten by a bunny. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Anyway, so Roman Reigns interview. Roman Reigns had an interview that I was pleasantly surprised because they had the Larry the Cable Guy promo, and then right after that we have a special guest tonight. I was like, is it going to be Larry the Cable Guy? Is he going to just Roman Reigns? Thought, okay.
You can tell he's been taking acting lessons. You can honestly tell he's been taking acting lessons. Because
yes, good. I didn't know if you were going to be sarcastic. Yeah.
No, someone went to him and said, there is potential here, but I need to actually work with you, and did that. And so there was charisma and energy. I didn't really love the choice of words, but that was probably scripted for him. That was probably scripted for him. So I'm not even upset at him.
Okay. I was weirded out by it, but I will enjoy it if they really don't make him into the next John Cena, where he himself has been on record saying that he doesn't like being called the next John Cena or being compared to John Cena, which is good because if Roman Reigns is just, like how Triple H basically said, hey, on SmackDown, there were 8 of us and we carried this. While that irked me because, you know how it is with talent. And it's like, there's a lot of talent everywhere usually. But if you say, yes, there are 8 people in the main event and they can all carry this promotion. Yes. Rather than John Cena, John Cena. So, if you have Roman Reigns being one of the 8 people, one of the cogs in the machine, perfect. So, anyway, So it wasn't special, but by the end of it, it got better as it went on. And I think he had this sass and this attitude that I feel like, out of, let's say, an 8-hour acting session, very long, but I mean, what else does he have to do? 8-hour acting session, 4 hours, I am teaching you how to act. The other 4 hours, watch The Rock on the network.
It was just, there was some charisma there, and I liked it because it was, the word choice I get, I still think it was weird, but there was charisma in the facial expressions and the smirk and everything going on where it was like, this is a guy I would listen to talk. Where it was just like, I really want to get back in there. And just JBL, like, how does that make you feel? And it's like, what a stupid question.
Yeah, that's the thing.
How do you
that's
think it? It's like I threw a center block at his head. And I'm like, there you go. That's what I want out of you.
Exactly,
and if you can bring that level of energy and charisma, which I know that he can, I am going to be a lot happier with Roman Reigns because I assume the ring work over time might be stagnant because you look at John Cena, and for the most part, he's been a passable worker for a long time. And he can pull a good match out of some people, and that's great. And I don't know if Roman will ever get to that level, but I do think he can be consistent as, like, above someone like Ryback, but still below, like, John, John is at least consistent with this stuff. I don't like it. It's, again, 5 Moves of Doom. We make this joke a lot. Very, very small variations to his moveset. But he's been able to pass that way, and not everybody hates all of his matches. And I'm not talking about outcome. I'm talking about the actual match, So we can definitely get to a point where we look at Roman Reigns. It's like, I could tolerate a Roman Reigns match.
Yes. And of course, just jumping back quickly, nothing against Larry the Cable Guy, just I don't think he needs to be a guest on a pay-per-view. I want to point that out because, we were fans of him as a kid, when we were younger, teenagers. But it's just, if the idea of Larry the Cable Guy being a guest on a pay-per-view, that would be frightening. That frightens me a bit. So I'm happy it was Roman Reigns. I'm happy he's talking about his return next month because, regardless of what happens to the Authority, he's coming back. So, Team Cena had a promo, and I have to be honest, we'll be quick, but I want to say I hate how they've turned Cena into like this guy who has all the power on the team. When we sit here and we say that he's never come to help. But the real thing to me is that he isn't a captain because he's never given any orders. You know, he has seniority, right? But they haven't really focused on that so much because, damn it, look, again, he has seniority, but he isn't Captain America. Like, Captain America is a guy who, and I think they're trying to, so, you know, I know that there are nerds writing because we've seen the Ambrose Cena thing. So there are definitely nerds as writers on the show. So clearly they might think of him as like this Captain America leading his team. But John isn't that guy because Captain America is Captain America. So when you're fighting with him, you can sit there and go, even if I die, right, I will have at least helped the cause somehow because of the orders that Cap has given me in battle. You know, this is a guy who is a master strategist. That is not John Cena, or at least not the John Cena we've seen in the last few weeks. Unless, of course, John is sitting in the back with chess pieces of all the different characters. And that's why he hasn't been able to help all of his friends. Because John Cena's sitting there and he's going, all right, if I move this piece here, no, darn, Kane would take us here. All right, so we have to leave Kane there. If I move this piece here, we took a Harper. Good. You know, we haven't seen any of that. So it's really awkward that they put this kind of thing where John just comes out and he goes, I'll do my best to win. Well, thank you, John. Sadly, we're also wrestlers in this. So how about you shut the fuck up and kind of let us wrestle? Thanks, man.
Yeah. No, it's just a matter of the difference in captains. I know that Triple H technically did his thing earlier in the night. Right. Where, you know, it made it seem like he was not the captain but Seth Rollins. But when it came down to it, I mean, when the match happened, which we'll get to, I mean, Seth was defiantly the captain, definitively the captain.
Right.
You know, John seemed like he was much more happy-go-lucky about this than he should have been, but I guess that's his character? Like, you know
I guess
what I mean?
so.
I don't know what to do. Where, like, should I compliment them for writing the Cena character as badly as he's always been written, or should I be mad because, like, it's weird for me. I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do.
Yes. So, anywho, let's jump into something that because I don't want to rant on this, but I'm going to have to just for a bit, and you can please chime in because I know how you're going to feel. Two things. First off, Nikki versus AJ. They didn't even show a video package. They didn't show a video package for them. How terrible is that? They just got clips shown. I mean, dude, that's bad. They didn't have a video package. I know the tag team, you know, didn't either, and yes, the Survivor Series didn't either, but damn it, there were 2 championships on the line. You could have done something. WWE can make a phone book into a video package. So they didn't have one, which at first you think there might be something off here. And then you get what I consider the worst thing ever, the distraction that is the most stupidest. Yes, I said that because it works here. Most stupidest thing you could have ever done, that I cannot believe this was approved. I cannot believe someone think that this was appropriate and should end in a squash match. And let me clarify, right, that what I mean is, you know, first off, the idea that apparently Brie, I hope, had poison on her lips like Poison Ivy, because it makes AJ look extremely weak. That a kiss would throw you off, okay, but the idea that a kiss would turn, you know, and then a finisher would immediately make you go out, as if, you know, you're that weak, right? And then also subjecting us to a lesbian kiss that is only used for shock value and as a way to sexualize women-on-women relationships in a way that doesn't need to be shown, not only, you know, by my money when I'm focusing on a wrestling event, but also when it's used, you know, in a way to, you know, again, just as shock value and not to be an actual relationship that goes, you know, that involves itself into what's going on there. No, it's just there to sexualize it and there to, you know, I say this a lot, but I really have to, shock value. And then for a swerve, and then for something like this to happen, and you sit there and you're like, wait, this is what people were wasting time over before? We couldn't have added more to this in any way possible? I'm so angry.
I just want to make sure you got your time.
But how do you feel, though?
Yeah.
So how do you feel?
No, it's fine. I mean, it's hard for you to shit on my match of the night, but I mean, I guess I'll deal with it because I understand that we differ in opinions.
Sarcasm is funny.
No. I mean, you missed the shout out to the Daniel Bryan 18 seconds defeat when he was the title, with the title holder back at WrestleMania.
I have to be honest.
And this was a beautiful homage to Daniel Bryan.
That's the thing. That infuriated me because if you want to, you try to call it like that, but in my head, I don't think anyone thought about that as they went into it. Something in my head goes, that was their cover. Especially because of the things they've been doing especially the things that they've been doing with Paige recently, where it's not as if they're sitting there and they're trying to say, we are going to make one of these characters lesbian so we can deal with the idea of lesbian relationships and having it just be a chill, normal thing where it's like, hey, look, it happens, whatever. We've had male, female valets, we've had female, male valets. Female valet that's actually kind of tag team or whatever, that's an actual relationship. Why is that weird? And that's good press right there. Because it's like, you're right, why is that weird? Let's be progressive, everyone. No, it's just, let's make it as sexy as we can. Why? You're fired. It really got to me, and because of the fact that it was so quick, and also like you said, the idea that it has to make one side look. Well, no, sorry, you said that it was so quick, and you said it's an homage, but to me it's just like, now you said, I'm sorry, Michael Cole said. So I sit here and I think it just makes AJ look so weak, and even if she's leaving, right? Even if this was because she was heading out of the company, it's just, damn it, why did it have to be a kiss? And then also, Brie did not look upset. And maybe she was trying, it was hard for her because as a human being, she thought, my sister has the title right now. This is nice. But I saw a half smile and no kind of like, I am disgusted.
It was a full smile. It was a full smile.
Okay.
It implies that there was a Brie heel turn tonight.
Yeah. Which is just disgusting in the sense that we, like WWE logic. I abuse this person, and after a full month or after a certain amount of it, they just go, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Remember, kids.
There's something to be said about that because, okay, when WWE normally does their whole, you're going to be my personal assistant / butler / whatever for a month, they do a lot worse with it. And to be honest, we sat there and complimented the angle because we thought, they could have been a lot worse. They could have been dumping more liquids on that person's head. And really what it seems like, and if Brie really was happy, that they were just keeping up appearances for the sake of getting one of them the title. And this was the easiest way to get one of them title. Now, on top of that, you mentioned something towards the later part of what you were talking about that I actually, like, all jokes aside, I was thinking of, like, I'm going to troll Matt and make him mad. But unfortunately, I'm not feeling well enough to do that. So I'm going to work off what you were saying when you said if this is because of AJ leaving. Because that's actually definitely where I'm standing, where I sit there and think, we heard the rumors, both you and I, that if AJ loses the title, she's effectively leaving. And, of course, this isn't confirmed. The rumors are never confirmed. But in my head, it really felt like, you know how you talk about WWE being petty? Now, I don't usually think of them petty in the way that you think of them as petty, but I do think they're petty. And I think this is the kind of thing that they would do to show their pettiness. Not like, we're petty, but just like the whole idea of like, oh, you really want to leave? Just like that, AJ? And your husband freaking left too? Okay, fine. You know what? You're going to go out there and you're going to lose in 10 seconds.
And guess what? Okay, fine. Don't understand why any kisses need to be involved for distractions. It could have been a simple, like, hey, I have the title. What are you doing? All of a sudden, just like, it could have even been something as, like a neener face, like a tongue out, and be like, what the hell are you doing? Oh, God, it's happening. Why? Not like this. And then, bam, rack attack, as what it's called. Because guess what? From behind, it would have been great, where it's just, my back has been turned for 5 seconds. 5 seconds too long, apparently. Bam. Zip him.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, because I'm not as mad as you are, to be honest with you. I'm not as mad as you are. I understand everything you said, and I don't want to argue with it, not even because I'm tired, but because I think you're right. I think it was obviously for shock value. I think they knew exactly what the fuck they were doing, and they wanted to throw in the, oh, well, the happened to Daniel Bryan thing as like a cover their own ass thing, and not like this is obviously what we were doing. I get that, but I guess it just didn't hit me as much as, like, it's weird, because at first when it happened, I was sitting there like, that was interesting, because, like, they actually went through with that. Wow. I was like, that's kind of, and what adds to it, what pisses me off, is that they have been, like, teasing random, like, well, every woman in the division is, like, apparently lesbian. So that kind of makes me kind of pissed off.
That's the thing.
It's
a culmination. It's a culmination.
But it is definitely a combination thing. But as a standalone event, I'm not that angry. I am angry about the general, like, great, we missed out on what would have been probably a good match, and this is probably a very petty way to get AJ out of the company. And, of course, I'm angry about those things. But I guess it's just, as a standalone moment, I was not okay with it, but I wasn't as angry as you. I'll say that much.
Well, then, okay, fair enough then. As a standalone moment, I wouldn't be as angry. I think it always comes off to me where I will admit I don't think I'm a good idea pitcher. Like, so in other words, if I was hired to be a writer for WWE, I don't think I'm the person who can sit there and go, here's where we need to go from here. And I admit that freely. But I think that maybe you and I can be good people that when someone says a story like this, it's like, all right. And I sit there and I go, okay, that's perfect. I wouldn't change anything except for this huge thing right here, because I think a lot of people are going to feel weird about that, and not in a good way, not in a like we want to watch way. You might even possibly get a lot of people to rage quit. So how about instead of this happening, it's just a general you've been you've been had.
But see, like, okay, think about it this way though.
Right.
Brie is not a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
She is married to Daniel Bryan.
Right.
So, first off, it does kind of make sense that they don't homage Daniel Bryan in this. But, secondly, okay, Brie is not a lesbian, and neither is AJ. So, the last thing, essentially, you would expect them to do is to go ahead and do this kiss angle. Do you get what I mean? So, in terms of shock value to us, it's one thing. But it's also the whole idea of, in storyline, AJ had to be really shocked.
Oh, of course. But, okay, you know what it is, too? I feel like it becomes a problem to me when it feels like they do something with the women that won't be replicated with the men. And we saw a bit of that, and I know we're taking away from the one standalone moment thing.
I totally agree with.
Yes, we're taking away from the standalone moment thing, but I want to bring it back. So sorry, but I've said a while ago, the idea of Seth Rollins, let's say, betrays his Shield members, doesn't come out and go, well, I mean, I'm young, so, like, that'll just happen. But I'm still friends with Ambrose and, Reigns. Be like, what? No, but that happened with Paige and AJ for a while, right? So that's the thing. Just the idea that, it's just that they would just do something like this, and they do it with the women and no men on the show, I assume anyway. Other than, I would assume Adam Rose would, actually. But usually you would not see a man on the show, from the way they've been booking everyone, or doing every characters for everyone. Just, like, how will Randy Orton, distract someone? Well, clearly he would kiss them. RKO maybe on the rope or anything? No, he would immediately kiss them. John will be confused because when he turns around, he'll go, I've always loved him too. And then he'll get hit with a chokeslam. Like, no, Randy Orton would not kiss John Cena, and that's kind of what throws me off. I want him to kiss John Cena. Well, I mean, I don't know. No, just all joking aside.
You got Dean essentially kissing Bray, and I mean, Dean's the kind of guy that would just do it with Bray, apparently, because Bray, of course, kisses everyone before he hits his finisher.
Yeah, but it's completely different.
It's not a 100% thing, but I see what you're getting at. I just feel like. And Maddie's now messaging me on the same topic. Like, Ambrose would. Actually, John Moxley did all the time, and Steen has. But I just think it's interesting because, yes, WWE is more inclined to run something with a female kissing a female than a male kissing a male. Part of that is their own ignorance. Part of that is the fact that society statistically does accept female more than male because
yes,
of,
yes,
you know,
of course.
like
Sadly,
male-dominated society and what they perceive as accepted and stuff. So it's a weird thing where it's like there's a lot of things I'd like to blame WWE for, and there's a lot of sexism I'd like to kill them on, but like this one is an interesting scenario where gotta wait to see Bree's promo tonight.
Got it, and I agree. But I just want to bring up, again, my main point is, while I understand all that, just, all jokes aside, it's not that I'm saying that every man should at least once a year kiss another man for the story, and, like a shock value like this. No. What I'm saying, though, is that, as you kind of said, where it's just, if you're going to do something with the women, it should be also applicable to the men and vice versa. And if you're going to sit there and go, man would never do this, to a man, we would never let it happened on air. Well, then why do you do that with the women? For what value? Well, it would shock everyone, including that, yes, but what other shockers could you do that don't need to be done in that way where it's just, what? I mean, thankfully we have 2014 King and not 90s King, because that would have been horrific. I'll just say that much. I'll end it on that note. At least we have this King now, who I assume has gone through a lot of seminars. Because then again, maybe I blocked out the commentary, but I'm pretty sure it was just shock, just silence, mixed with like what? But anyway, let's jump over to the Survivor Series match, the most important match of the night, I think. First off, they had to go from that into this match, so I'm sure everyone was already really happy going into it, which is always a great thing to do, by the way. It's as if Undertaker loses before a match, and you just think, you know what, I'm sure people will be fine with this, right? I know it's a strange comparison, but still, the idea of let's put a really weird and really bad taste in their mouths, and let's move on, shall we? And so we go from that into this, where, and mind you, how long was this match? A full hour?
No, but the match, I'm going to say, from what I remember, it was right about 10:02 when they finished up the whole replaying of the video package, which was a good one.
Right.
And it was about 11:02 when the pay-per-view ended. So essentially the entire thing did take about an hour.
Yeah.
So they ran over 11 for the first time in a while because, hey, they realized, normally we don't run over 11 because pay-per-views, which means if you pay-per-view on a TV network, you could risk the 11:02, you could miss the last 2 minutes of that pay-per-view because you only paid up to 11. But with everybody giving, with the free Survivor Series now, I think they honestly assumed this is the night we can run over 11 because nobody will actually pay when they can get it for free, not realizing that, of course, there are other reasons that people aren't using the network because of internet.
Yeah.
But, so they ran over. But the whole entire thing took, wow.
Right.
The entire thing took about an hour. Right. And that, wow, a lot of stuff happened within this match.
Oh, yeah. And what's funny is we can take a while to say it, but honestly, a lot happened, but I don't feel like a lot happened in the sense that we start off the match, bam, Mark Henry gets knocked out immediately. And also I'm worried because I don't want to say that he's injured or anything, but, it's really weird when you just knock out one person immediately.
Is it suspicious that it's the black guy?
It isn't, because I felt like, because apparently WWE recently said, rumor, WWE recently said, we need to put Mark Henry's face on this WrestleMania poster because he is a black guy and we need to promote
his face is
black
on the poster. That doesn't mean he needs to actually wrestle.
No, that's obvious, which is also a crazy thing, too, to think about. But no, the idea, though, that in this match, I just thought it was like a thing where it's just, I'm really worried, where I hope Mark Henry either isn't injured or doesn't want to take a break. Because if he does, it's just, we knock him out quick, we say he's injured, and then he's actually just chilling off in Hawaii. But you sit there and you go, another guy leaving? So I'm hoping that's not the case. But it's just really crazy how it's just immediately, bam, Big Show knocked out Mark Henry.
What bothered me is that it was Big Show doing the knockout, though, because, I want to make mention of the fact that I thought it would have made it would have been for a more appropriate situation had Ryback done something like that. Like, his finisher's not as quick. But if Ryback gets the quick kill, Ryback is a hot act right now. And they're booking him as, like, this superpower. You know, Cole comes in saying, like, wow, Ryback is the difference maker. He tips the scales for Team Cena. Cena talks to him like, you're the reason that I'm going to win if I get out there. The Authority is scared of you. And then he gets eliminated so quickly without actually really doing some damage. And I was disappointed. So, and the rest of the match, I mean, laughably, Maddie called the Big Show turn. And I called the roll-up for Harper. Because at this point, we watched WWE so much that it feels like they've just done this whole thing over, where when Dolph is there, it's like, yes, Dolph is going to win, get a roll-up, and then somehow win but be stopped by a ref. It's like, yeah, that's coming. That's definitely coming, because Harper's a big guy.
Yeah.
Dolph can't just beat him like that. And Big Show's turn was so.
I actually didn't notice it because, of course, as you noticed, I was watching it on mute, so as you heard earlier during the show. So, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, right.
Mute or on 100% volume. The Big Show is the Big Show, and he was he was around in that match for too long, and it was just a matter of.
I thought they were just giving him too much of a, because the thing is, okay, here's why, and now I can see what you mean. But for me, it was weird because Ryback is eliminated first, and my feeling was just kind of anger because the Big Show, should be, and I know it sounds harsh, but him being a veteran. But a veteran who hasn't gained a lot of steam, where Ryback is supposed to be getting a push as a mega face, I was feeling weird about his immediate on Team Cena, deletion from the team. And then, of course we have Rusev lose via countout, which was great. We have, but then bam, Big Show turns on Cena, which I thought, oh God. And then of course Cena loses from that. But we have the Dolph left, which I think was a beautiful thing.
Cena took a pin. That
was
mentioned.
Weird.
Cena took a pin, and
that
makes me really happy because I have to wonder, what did they have to do to John to get him to accept him not being the hero and Dolph Ziggler being a hero? Like
that's the scary thing.
In my head, Sting convinced him personally because Sting just was like, I'm coming back for Dolph Ziggler. Sting came back for Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, no, it's a strange thing because I think this kind of gives you a bit more ammo for anyone who says, John's just a company guy, meaning that if the company says, jump off of this bridge, John will say, all right, how far, where do you want me to hit the floor? Like, where would what part of the water do you want me to hit? He'd be like, right over there. He'd be like, I will try, boss. Where it's just, John, that might kill you and that might in turn hurt the business. But the boss told me to do it. And it would probably make great TV. I mean, it's live on the network right now, so I should probably jump, shouldn't I? John, you don't need to. I feel like it's one of those situations. I'm not saying that I'm a supporter of that, but I know there's some people who really feel that way. And this is one of those nights where it's just, John lost to the Big Show. And it's just like, someone had to just tell him, lose to the Big Show. Like, I don't think he sat there and thought, but why? It's just lose to the Big Show. Mm-hmm. Either that or because he's a veteran, he looked at it. So it wasn't like, Cena losing to Rusev or something.
Right. He couldn't, he wasn't having to put anyone over, so it wasn't a big problem for him at all. Putting someone over, really.
That could be an issue as well.
The pin, which is fun. But, so moving past that amazing feat in itself,
right.
Dolph Ziggler put on a fucking show, man.
I know. I mean, it made me so happy. He eliminates Kane. And it's just him left against Seth Rollins. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Triple H is the referee slayer, just coming in and just slaying any referee who decides to show up. And then Sting realizes, while my colors are black and white, I am not a referee. So he decided to come out.
And take out a ref.
And take out a ref himself. I think he felt a little nervous. Like he was thinking, is that guy also Sting? So he decided to just kind of take out anyone who had those colors. Kind of a territorial thing. And then he appeared. From what I saw, he looked at Triple H. Triple H mouthed some things. He could have said words. I don't know. I was muted for me. And then they Sting flew away. Sting flew away.
After, a Scorpion death drop.
Right, yes, right. Sting flew away. And then Ziggler was very happy. And then John Cena wanted to share that with him. And then Ziggler said nope, and then he did the zigzag on him outside the ring. Wait, nope, that's my canon. No, what actually happened. What?
But man, it just okay.
Yeah.
So again, Dolph put on a show. I need to make that
Yeah.
so explicitly clear. Dolph put on an
Yes.
effing show, and that
He did.
really made me happy. On top of that, Sting came back to help Dolph Ziggler. I know that's not literal. Like, Sting didn't show up and think, I'm going to help Dolph and only Dolph.
No, but it's better than
just
Cena
Sting
or anything,
comes
you
in
know?
as a face. And just, by the way, where was John? John was fine enough to hug Dolph at the ramp. But no, John doesn't come and help. Sting, as a protector of justice and all is good, comes in, not because he has any grudge against Triple H, maybe, but just nice to protect fairness.
But
That's
mind
what a man called
is
Sting
now,
does.
But I want to mention, is now part of the order of chaos that will come because there is no authority.
Yeah, who takes over? Is Sting the new GM? Is Mick Foley the new GM? You know, what happens here tomorrow night is going to be huge because there is no authority. And you know, there are some things that will happen anyway.
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
But man, I think that's cool. And just, of course, Steph all night sold every emotion beautifully. I was into it. But just Sting stepped into a WWE ring, Matt. Sting stepped into a WWE ring. After
he looks weird.
He looked old.
I'm not even old. I think I'm just a huge fan of when he dyes his hair. That's what I think it is. I think he should just, because it's brown, and I'm not a big fan of the brown, especially the brown short. It sounds silly, but I just think like seeing black hair Sting with the makeup, which is great. Holding a baseball bat too, by the way, was needed. I think it would have sold it a bit more for me. But I'm not saying it was bad, because the idea that Sting actually appeared, you heard me live on the air. I sat there and I said, no, I was making jokes. I wasn't asking for this. I'm happy, but I wasn't. Yeah.
So no, it was just Sting actually showed up in a WWE ring, and that's in technical terms, McMahon's right. I mean, that was Sting's debut in WWE, and H sold the Scorpion Death Drop, that DDT, like it really hurt. And for a second, I was like, man, Sting still has some energy left in that body. And that made me happy.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. Yeah. I can't wait for Raw. We're going to talk about Raw tomorrow, live.
Tonight?
Tonight, technically, yes. So, having to end it, we would like to thank you guys for listening to those guys. We can't wait for today, technically, later on today, for Raw, obviously 8 p.m. EST. And, of course, we're going to be, doing it 11:30 p.m. EST right after the Raw ends. If you want to see the Stone Cold podcast, well, remember, if you have the network, it is archived, so you can totally listen to us live if you wish. But no, seriously, all jokes aside, we really want to thank you guys for listening in. It's just really nice. It's nice that you guys are able to sit here, listen to us, sometimes call it live on the air, really late at night on a Sunday. But anyway, again, thank you guys for listening in. We have our Tumblr, by the way, for any of our older shows, WWE, WWE pay-per-views, Gotham, Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, Mike Tyson Mysteries, Black Dynamite, and a whole bunch more on our Tumblr, thoseguysontheradio.tumblr.com. You can also check our Facebook out for older episodes, /thoseguysontheradio, or search up Those Guys, our Twitter, @ThoseGuysRadio. Also our Instagram /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio. We also have a Gmail. You can email us at thoseguysontheradio@gmail.com for any promotional opportunities. We can promote anything legal that you wish to discuss with us. And just again, I don't know why, I'm really excited tonight because of Survivor Series. It actually pulled a really cool main event out of this whole thing. So yeah, thank you guys for listening to Those Guys. Do you have anything to say, Satish, before we cut off?
No, we're good. I mean, I'm just still kind of shocked over this thing, but
all right.
I don't know where this is going to go, but they delivered.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
So I'll play us out.
Those guys are going to come on their hands and knees begging and pleading to keep their jobs. And they're going to get fired anyways. And after they get fired, they're going to be ignored. And once they're ignored, John, they're going to be completely forgotten about.